97.3. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue.
Oh, flex. Buckle up and join the best. Let Citi relieve your stress. So yes, let the music soothe your soul and keep it going just to refresh. Buckle and enjoy the ride from 2 to the half of the 5. Mondays to Fridays, happening live. Where we gon' have a ball, you can text your guys. Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. Are you ready for the Traffic Avenue? Let me tell you what you really gotta do. You can count on us, we come through. We got everything you need, that's true. An applause for the Traffic Avenue.
Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, the Traffic Avenue. Traffic Avenue, the show for me and you. Mondays to Fridays, ooh, Traffic Avenue, oh yeah.
Detailed news, unparalleled coverage. Citi News on 97.3 FM.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Citi News.
It's 17:30 GMT. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. Tonight, I'm here with
Eno Safo.
And coming up over the next 90 minutes.
Warrior, straight in battle, Jehovah is your name. It is joy we give glory to God. He alone has made it.
The song of victory and joy and escape from prison. ACP Benjamin Agojo acquitted and discharged by the High Court over the charge of plotting a coup in the country. His lawyer wants to sue the state for the more than 5-year trial, which has ended with victory in his favor. Meanwhile, 6 other persons who stood trial with him have been sentenced to death by hanging over those treason charges. We'll tell you everything about that story from the court today, plus reactions across, and also remind you exactly of what happened. Also coming up, Electoral Commission proposes for Ghanaians to vote on November 7. The largest opposition, NDC, says no. Would the election happen on November 7? As a question we have here on Eyewitness News. And later on the show, injunction placed on the MPP primaries in the Mampong constituency 3 days to the major internal election of the party. We'll be understanding what the issues there are. Stay with 97.3 Citi FM for more on this and many other stories on Eyewitness News. And in business,
Business community calls for reduction of proposed 15% VAT on electricity to 5%.
That's in 50 minutes from the Citi Business Desk. Eyewitness News is live across Ghana on a host of affiliate stations. Let me list for you a number of stations that you can tune to if you went outside Accra and want to listen to Eyewitness News. If you go to the Northeast region, tune to Nobia 98.1 FM in Nalerigu. That's the regional capital. If you go to Upper East, in Garu, we are live on Quality 88.7 FM. In the Northern region, we are in Saboba on Radio Gaki 88.3 FM. If you are listening to Eyewitness News in Volta region, this must be Heritage 107.3 FM in Hohwe or Freedom 88.1 FM in Sugakopa. If you're headed for the Ashanti region, look out for Adwinpa 99.9 FM in Nkawie. In the Bono region, we are on Greener 95.9 FM in the capital, Sunyani. In the Western region, multiple platforms, including Adwinpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach 105.5 FM in Takrady, and Sky Power 93.5 FM in Takrady. The show is also on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We are on citinewsroom.com. And we are interactive on X. The hashtag is Citi Newsroom. My handle is @Umaru or use @Citi973. Alternatively, go on WhatsApp and drop a message 0549 986 996. 0549 986 996. Send your message and the world would hear what you think of the big stories that are coming up. And the big story tonight is that the High Court sitting in Accra, presided over by 3 judges, has delivered a verdict on a trial that was brought against a number of people who had been arrested and put on trial for allegedly at the time plotting a coup d'etat. They were planning to topple the government. The key person in that particular trial has since died, that the doctor who owned a hospital somewhere around Alajo in Accra, Dr. Mark Palm. However, the other persons who have been standing trial with him have continued to be going to the court, and today the verdict was delivered. One of them, a senior member of the police service, ACP Benjamin Agojo, is been freed indeed. And I'm going to just go to Hansen Ajiman quickly for a summary of the issues before we bring you the sound bites from the courtroom. Hansen Ajiman is our court correspondent. He sat through the judgment or the reading of the judgment today. Hansen, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Sander.
Remind us again of the history. I was just trying to give a quick summary there, including Dr. Mark Palm. What happened in 2019?
So in 2019, what we realized was that Hello?
I'm listening to you, Hansen. Go ahead.
Yeah. So in 2019, 2019, there was an arrest of some persons at the Citadel Hospital here in Accra. At the time, the communication that had come out was that these people were seeking to destabilize the country by plotting a coup d'etat. Subsequent to that, prosecution began, basically these 10 persons in 2019. And at the time, they were on trial for treason. However, in 2021, prosecution changed the charge sheet to high treason. Now, high treason, which is given by Article 3 of the 1992 Constitution, essentially is to the point that anybody who attempts to overthrow a constitutionally elected government or actually overthrows a constitutionally elected government commits the offense of high treason and shall upon conviction be sentenced to suffer death. And so the 10 persons that were arrested were at the time, and when the trial began, were Dr. McPalm. Dr. McPalm, a medical doctor, owner of the Citadel Hospital, he died in March last year. And so technically was discharged from the case because he couldn't complete his testimony. He was actually under cross-examination, or cross-examination was ongoing at the time. His cross-examination was not completed when message of his death was communicated to the court. The second accused person in this case is a blacksmith in the person of Dunya Kafui. The name that he was nicknamed, or the nickname that the group knew him by, was Ezo. Then there's Bright Alan Deborah Ofosu, a fleet manager who, during the prosecution's case, appeared to be the person who was running the affairs of Take Action Ghana, the vehicle which at the time was alleged to be used to plot the coup. And then there was the fourth accused person, Johannes Ziki. He is a civilian employee of the Ghana Armed Forces. He's described to have some technical knowledge when it comes to communication gadgets and the ability to jam communication systems, and which they were relying on his expertise to use on the day for the said coup. The fifth accused person was Colonel Gamali. He, as rightly indicated, has been acquitted. Now, mind you, aside Mapam, who died last year, the first three, as I mentioned, were convicted by the court. To talk of the second accused person, the blacksmith, Bright Alandebra Ofosu, the third accused person, who technically was like a secretary to the Take Action Ghana, and then the fourth accused person, Johannes Zipi, who's a civilian employee of the Ghana Armed Forces. Now, the fifth accused person was Colonel Gamali. Colonel Gamali, he was acquitted by the court. The sixth accused person is Warrant Officer Esther San Dikuini. She has also been convicted. And then there's Lance Corporal Ali Solomon and Corporal Sylvester Akankiwan, who have all been convicted. And the last person who actually have been acquitted is Corporal Sidu Abubakar. Now, these persons were charged with 2 counts. One, conspiracy to commit crime, to wit, high treason, and then committing high treason. The court analyzed the role played by each of the 6 accused persons who have been convicted. So if you take Donya Kafui, the evidence that was led by the prosecution, led by Godfrey Yawadame, was that Donya Kafui, who is a blacksmith, was contracted to make or manufacture guns as well as IEDs for the purpose of undertaking the coup d'etat. The prosecution brought video evidence where Donya Kafui was seen manufacturing items that were later confirmed to be guns and IEDs, which were harmful in nature. The prosecution indicated that Donya Kafui, at every point in time in his dealings with Dr. McPalm at the time, knew that what he was producing was for the purpose of furthering the plot to destabilize the country by causing coup d'etat. The Donya Kafui, in his defense, had indicated that even though in a caution statement, he had admitted to some of the issues that have been raised by the prosecution, he at the time didn't understand what was really happening because the communication was ongoing in Chi and he didn't understand Chi. The court didn't agree with this particular point that Donya Kafui raised. The point also found some corroborative evidence to suggest that Donya Kafui, that is a blacksmith, to a large extent committed a crime of conspiracy to commit high treason and also committed high treason. Now, the second person that the court considered was Bright Alandebra Ofosu, who was conducting various meetings with various people, convincing people to join the group to undertake this act of removing a legitimately elected government. And the case against him was that he also helped in putting up a sketch of key installations within the country for which they were going to target at if they had gone ahead with their plot to undertake the coup. And so the court, at the point, after considering the evidence against him and the defense he gave, the court noted that actually he is also guilty, and the court convicted him on both count 1 and count 2 of having committed the crime of conspiracy to commit high treason and high treason. Now, the third person is the fourth accused person. The fourth accused person here is in the person of Johannes Zipi. He's a civilian employee of the Ghana Armed Forces. As a civilian employee of the Ghana Armed Forces, he works with the communications department, and we are told that he has expertise within the space of jamming communication equipment, and so they were supposed to rely on him to jam some communication equipment so that they'll have control of communication activities when they undertake their plot. And so the court also, upon considering the evidence leveled against him and also the defense he gave, the court came to a conclusion that yes, he was guilty of conspiracy to commit high treason, but the court was not convinced that he was guilty of committing high treason. So he was convicted only on count 1 of committing high treason. Now, the 5th accused person I indicated has been acquitted, and so we move straight to the 5th accused person, Warrant Officer Esther Sandikwini. The accusation against her is that she was in charge of mobilizing junior officers of the Ghana Armed Forces. According to prosecution, the group had agreed to pay every single officer who joined the plan 50,000 each to undertake this activity. Evidence was also presented in court where at certain point in time she was said to have indicated that the group ought to look at how they were going to deal with the president, that is Nana Akufo-Addo, and that they had to look at ways of eliminating him and holding him hostage. Now, she denied these allegations and indicated that that particular meeting, that was the only meeting she actually attended. Now, the court, in the analysis of the evidence available to it, realized that there were 2 sets of evidence, a video evidence and an audio recording. Now, the video recording was not the full complement of what had happened. And as a result, they couldn't capture the exact words, as I have indicated, where she was alleged to have said that the group has to eliminate President Akufo-Addo, hold him hostage. However, the audio evidence or the audio recording that was submitted to the court gave some clear indications of she saying those words. But the court noted that because of the discrepancy in the 2 recordings and the fact that with the audio recording, they are not able to directly even say who actually was saying what, the court was not going to put much emphasis on that allegation. But what got her was that she had indicated that that was the only meeting she attended. But evidence that was given before court suggested that she attended another meeting, and this meeting where she was actively engaged in conversations towards the coup, and where she kept asking for the allowance that they had promised to give to the junior officers who joined this plot to oust the president or a legitimately elected president. And so Warrant Officer 2, Esther Sandikwini, the court noted that even though she actively agreed to act together as the crime of conspiracy requires, she didn't play an active role as compared to A2, the blacksmith, and A3, the person who actually A3, that's like Deborah, who appears to be like a secretary of a sort for the group. And so A6 was only convicted on conspiracy to commit crime to wage high treason, but she was acquitted on the charge of committing high treason. Now, when it comes to A7 was acquitted. Now, A7, the case against A7 was that he actually was at a meeting where some of these discussions were held. But the court, upon analysis of the evidence available to it, noted that prosecution was not able to point A7 in any of the video evidence that had been admitted before the court. Neither was A7 heard in any of the videos. And it's interesting to note that at the point when the judgment was being read, A7 was the only accused person, to the best of my knowledge, that I visibly saw who was literally praying. After court proceedings, I asked him what he was doing. He said, yes, he knew at that point in time he had to put all his faith in his God. And so he was actually praying. I asked him and he confirmed that. Now, A7, A8, and A9, basically also junior officers within the same soup of A6, attended meetings, contributed to the idea of causing the coup. And so they were also charged on count 6. They were charged on count 1 or convicted. They were convicted on count 1 of conspiracy to commit high treason, but they were not convicted on the count of high treason. And so, Sandra, a summary of the conviction as we have it is that A2, A3, A4, where A2 and A3 were both convicted on count 1 and count 2. That's the conspiracy to commit high treason and then committing high treason.
Okay. Thank
A4,
you. Yes, land from your hands.
A4, A6, A8, A9 were convicted on count 1, which is the conspiracy to commit high treason, but they were acquitted on the high treason charge. While A5, A7, and A9, A5 being Colonel Gamali, A7 being Corporal Seydou Abubakar, and A10 being ACP Benjamin Agojo, were acquitted because prosecution couldn't prove its case beyond reasonable doubt.
Now, Hansen, the other 6 persons who have been sentenced to death, the assumption is that they will be moved away, and those who have been acquitted and discharged, they have gone home, correct?
Yes, certainly.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hansen Ajiman is our correspondent in the court. Let's speak to Martin Kpebu, his lawyer for one of the persons who were standing trial, ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo, who has actually been acquitted. He's joined us on the line. Counsel, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. It must be congratulations are in order, I believe, for you and your client today. Hello, Mr. Kpebu, can you hear me? Hello, sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I was saying that I believe congratulations are in order. You have fought a battle and you have won. What made it for you?
It's because the man was always innocent from day one, but the Attorney General just sought to add into the case for their own parochial reasons. Agojo was always innocent, but they sought to add in, but there's another side I see. It was just an assault on free speech. There's a man who was complaining that the conditions in Ghana are ripe for an Arab Spring. And that's the same message Akufo-Addo preached to come to office. And that's why we voted for him. Because we could see an Arab Spring, which means that, citizens may rise up against the government because unemployment was high, because people were hungry, people can't feed themselves, rent, electricity, etc. And that's how come we voted for Akufo-Addo. And yet once he came into office, he didn't want anybody to talk about an Arab Spring. So today, you see, they've paid dearly. It's shame on them.
When it came to it in the court, what were the issues for determination against your client specifically? Whether or not he was going to topple the government, or what he said was a comment that could be deemed as treasonable. What was the issue?
Yes, so number one, they said he made some contribution towards the coup d'etat. Yes, they couldn't lead evidence to prove it. 2, the Attorney General said he wrote a speech, he drafted a speech for the coup d'etat. Sorry, they couldn't find evidence for that. Attorney General said he was part of the plotting of a coup d'etat. That one too, they couldn't lead evidence on it, etc. Those were the things. It was just a shamble. It was such a charade. It was so shameful. The Attorney General was miserable in court. That's why I keep saying this case is an assault on free speech. But thank God the judges go to the occasion and they saw that, listen, any citizen who talks about Arab Spring not talking about a coup d'etat. Arab Spring is not a coup d'etat, and today we've been vindicated.
So the only charge against your client was the comments that he made. He was not involved in the thick of the plotting that has seen the other 6 persons going down for?
Yes, so let me explain this way. What they sought to say was that, that's why I first said, so let's repeat. They're saying that he helped, he abetted. So the name of the crime they charged him with is abetment of high treason. So you are helping. You know, the high treason is under Article 3, Clause 3B. And then there can be abetment. Abetment means you are helping. Good. Yes, when they went in, they didn't have evidence for it. They were just clinging at straws, and all the straws unraveled and left the Attorney General naked. So that's how they stayed yearly. The law books were thrown in their face.
You sound like you are not happy at all that he was even tried. Is that not the procedure of the law? Persons are suspected, they are put on trial, and they are either convicted or acquitted. If your client is acquitted, it simply means that the due process has been followed, and that is the rule of law. But you sound as if he should not have been put on trial at all.
Okay, no, that's not it. You know why? Because when Akufo-Addo was in opposition and he spoke about Arab Spring, nobody tried him. Nobody tried Akufo-Addo for saying Arab Spring in opposition. So that's it, Umaru.
So for you, you're seeing this as political rather than criminal? Martin, you sound a bit distracted. Let me put my last question and see if you can hear me.
Yes.
I'm saying that you're seeing this as a political trial rather than a criminal trial.
Absolutely. That's why I told you that it was an assault on free speech to guard public officers, not to complain about Akufo-Addo's misgovernance. The very Arab Spring he complained about. Look, I can show you, Mario. I'll send you clips. Citi FM. Akufo-Addo was saying, Arab Spring na Bagano. Arab Spring Abagano. And that's the same thing the man was complaining about. That the misgovernance, the high unemployment, the hunger and everything. Citizens will rise against the government. So we need to do something about it. Fix it. So if nobody tried Akufo-Addo in opposition for Arab Spring, why do you try Agojo for Arab Spring?
The question on many persons observing the decision today is, what happens to him? He lost his freedom. Was he still in active service in the police? What happens to that? If he was due for promotion, did he get it? How will he be compensated? Under the law, what is the procedure? Is he due for any compensation, or because he's a free man, that is it, he walks back into the service?
No, they've retired him. So we will look at it. That one of the things is to sue the government for malicious prosecution. We will sue. We are looking at it. When you take somebody through a criminal process without justification, you'll be sued for malicious prosecution. You pay compensation. So we are looking at it.
But that would be if you are able to prove that the person who prosecuted you did it with malice. That's fine. Let's leave it there. Thank you. Thank you so much. That's Martin Kpebu. He's lawyer for ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo. In fact, when he came out of the courtroom, he was full of praise to God Almighty, and he was singing as well. Hansen captured that for us. Let's listen. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. Just a quick technical glitch there. Let's listen now to ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo, who has been acquitted and discharged today by the High Court.
So then you're sure you have ACP Benjamin Agojo, who is coming with his family.
Mighty warrior, straight in battle, Jehovah is your name. Jehovah is your name. Jehovah is your name. Mighty warrior, strong in battle, Jehovah is your name.
5 years after being accused, the acquittal comes in.
It is joy. We give glory to God. He alone has made it. You heard the judgment. and you saw all the rebuttals, I don't need to talk again. They knew it was falsehood, but they continued to perpetuate it and push it hard. It didn't work. Our God doesn't fail. Now you want to ask what action next. Don't worry. I'll talk to my lawyers, and then we will talk to the media at the appropriate time. So thank you very much.
How does it feel to be free after 5 years?
Well, I've always been free within my heart. I've always been free because I knew how it was going to end. From the beginning, I knew that is how it's going to end today. I didn't know when it was going to end, but I knew how it was going to end. It's like watching a movie, a replay with somebody. You know the end, but the person doesn't know. So you people didn't know the end. I knew the end.
That's ACP Dr. Benjamin Gojo. He's been acquitted and discharged in that treason trial that has been standing for some years now. 6 other persons, though, have been sentenced to death by hanging. The man who led the charge for the state is Attorney General Godfrey Yeboah-Damin. He went to court and told the judges to convict these persons. Let's listen to him. He spoke after the judgment was delivered.
Clearly, the difference with the prosecution case in relation to ACP Akoso was quite evident. I mean, because he was not on the specific platform by which the accused persons were planning to overthrow the government. But of course, the evidence that was laid relating to how he tended to disrupt the smooth running of the government by advocating an Arab Spring and all that was quite clear. It's the judgment. Now we entreat all citizens of the country to read the judgment carefully before making any unfounded comment at all. And Kenneth Gamele, to the difficulty or the challenge that we had was a failure on the part of the prosecution witness to identify him in the video. And that really was quite fundamental. But in terms of acts that really were dishonorable, acts were deplorable from the perspective of a police officer or a military officer, you can see that was the service of the trial. Yes, apart from that, 5 soldiers were actually convicted of the offense of treason. And for me, that is what is matter. So it's very important that even these 5 officers of the Ghana Armed Forces, there had not been any clear evidence of their participation in such an activity, the monitoring of the activities in that regard. God knows what would have happened to this country.
So you heard the Attorney General Godfrey Yeboah-Damin there speaking on the acquittal and also the conviction of some persons who were put on trial. 10 of them put on trial. 1 person died in the course of the trial. That's Dr. Mark Palm, who owned a hospital somewhere around Alajo in Accra. The 9 other persons have been standing trial. 3 of them acquitted and discharged today. The other 6 persons have been sentenced to death by hanging. And we do know that based on our recent past, no president since Rawlings has signed the death penalty. So what typically happens is that these persons may well serve life in prison and not necessarily be sentenced, but we do not know which president will decide to sign that. We don't know if President Akufo-Addo will decide to sign that, or it may be left for future presidents to consider. But suffice it to say that we haven't seen that in more than 30 years in our fourth Republican dispensation. This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. ACP Agojo, though, through his lawyer, serving notice that they will be suing for malicious prosecution, which is a tool that they can deploy in the courts if they're able to prove that the prosecution was deliberately targeted at this person maliciously. This Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We have more stories coming up, including the fact that the issue of voting on November 7 instead of December 7 is back again on the front burner. Except that the EC is the one making the proposal now and the NDC is saying no. We'll hear from both parties and also other interested stakeholders in this matter. Plus, the NPP's primary is coming up over the weekend. An injunction has been secured in the Mampong constituency. We'll tell you more.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Chane Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
The wait is over. It's the Clash of Titans. The Total Energies African Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 is here. And as part of this year's competition, all Total Energy service stations will go into 100% football mode. So drive to selected service stations and kickstart your year with lots of amazing giveaways. This is our way of supporting our gallant Black Stars. So starting Sunday 14th January, when you buy fuel or lubricants from selected Total Energy service stations on Ghana match days, you instantly win amazing branded souvenirs. Let's celebrate the passion of football together and win lots of gifts during the 2023 Total Energies African Cup of Nations. Remember, promo is valid while stocks last. Visit our social media pages Total Energies GH for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Let's live football together.
Hey, Obeyin, what is this I'm hearing about some economic census?
Yes, the Ghana Statistical Service is conducting a nationwide census of all businesses called the Integrated Business Establishment Survey, popularly known as IBES.
A census of businesses? What is that for?
Well, for businesses to grow, they will need data on all business activities for decision making to enhance their profitability.
Hey, so does it mean my top bar is part of this exercise?
Of course it is. All businesses, whether for profits or non-profits, are included.
Okay, but won't my personal information be disclosed?
Not at all. Data collected will be kept confidential and used solely for statistical purposes, so your individual information is well protected.
Really? So when is it starting and how can I help?
This exercise will begin in January 2024. Help by giving the right information to the field staff who will be visiting your business.
Remember, support GSS to provide you with the right data for your business growth and national development.
2024 IBES, data for prudent business decisions.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. We are coming to you from our studios in Adabraka in Accra. We are also around the country on a number of affiliate stations, including stations in the Western region, in the Northeast region, in the Northern region, in the Volta region, and other radio stations that have been bringing us this particular broadcast nationwide. Now, this is an election year, 2024. Since 1992, we've been voting, or we voted on December 7 for every election year, which happens every 4 years. Now, in the past, there were proposals for the election to be brought to November 7 to help us with the transition process, plus take care of challenges that may arise as a result of a runoff. This time around, and now that failed. In 2020, it failed to take place. Now, the Electoral Commission is proposing for November 7 to be the new voting day. And now we are hearing that the NDC, the largest opposition party, is actually kicking against that. Let me just read for you quickly a summary on citinewsroom.com. EC justifies proposal for election date change. The story says the Electoral Commission has justified its proposal to change the date for both presidential and parliamentary elections from December 7 to November 7, 2024. The EC stated that the proposal initially put forth by political parties aims to allow sufficient time for the Commission to effectively manage its operations, particularly in the event of a runoff. The proposals were put forward during the Inter-Party Advisory Committee IPAC meeting held on Monday, January 22, 2024. The EC also wants election days to be designated as national holidays to boost public participation in the electoral process. A deputy commissioner of the Electoral Commission, Bosman Asari, said the discussions would continue next week. Here is a quote. The people who attended the IPAC meeting made it very clear that this is something they are in full support of. They are in sync with the EC. but it also requires that they go back and report to their party leadership to hear their views so that when they come to present the official position of their parties, this is something we are ready to meet them next week again for another meeting because we made it clear that this proposal came from you and we think it is right time to implement it. He continues to say, we want to know what you think. If the parties say it's not something they are interested in, the EC doesn't have a problem at all. We are not doing it for ourselves. We are doing it for Ghana's democracy and the political parties. And the parties believe this is something good for our democracy. Now, he was quoted as saying this on Joy FM. Let's hear from the NDC now, because we are told that the NDC has distanced itself from that or disagreed. Dr. Tanko Rashid Computer is a Deputy Director of Elections at the National Democratic Congress. He's joining us on the line. Tanko Rashid, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Umar.
Congratulations on your new job. The NDC in the past was in government when this issue of voting on November 7 was mooted, and I believe it was a popular decision then. Why is it unpopular now with your party?
Very well. The situation in 2016 and the situation in 2020, nothing has changed. We haven't seen any dramatic change to warrant the reinventing of the same proposals. Don't forget, the proposals was part of the electoral reforms that was mooted by political parties in 2016 and was sent to Parliament by Electoral Commission for these changes to be effected. And our brothers from the other side, the MPP, vehemently opposed the proposal in Parliament. They even voted against it and said, no way. They expounded a lot of reasons why the November 7th was not feasible. And you and I know very well that in November, especially the northern part of the country, rains are still very active, where the rivers, the streams are all full capacity, the roads are bad. And imagine going to hold election in such a period. You are going to cut off a lot of people from participating in the elections. I mean, that at that time they explored all these theories from their end. And some other funny things they even said, talking of some spirituality and all that. Well, the whole thing went down. The Electoral Commission had to go with the December 7th. Run down to 2020.
So 2016, your party, which was in power then, agreed with the Electoral Commission for voting to happen on November 7, correct?
It was a proposal, electoral reforms by all political parties. It wasn't the NDC alone which was pushing that.
Yes. So what I just want to know is that did the NDC prior to 2016 agree that we should vote on November 7?
That's why I'm saying it was appropriate at that time. We said we could test it because that was the first time we're trying to move the December 7th. And that needed a constitutional amendment because you needed to amend Article 112 in order to pave way for this. And you needed to test majority of MPs in Parliament to vote for it because it's not an entrenched clause. And yet our brothers voted against it and gave reasons. So we all backed the reasons at that time and said, fine, fair enough. If that is the so, let's continue our December 7th. And that is why we used for 2020. There was no problem, even with all the difficulties the Electoral Commission made us to go through in 2020. We still accepted the December 7th. You all remember what went through, especially the registration exercise, and then the type of thing she's known as the statement of pool that was used for the December 7th, which was quite different from what was stated in the CI 127. We accepted and went ahead with the election. So now, what has changed? As the American will say, if it isn't broken, why fix it?
But you believed in 2016 that it was broken and you agreed that it should be fixed.
It's not that it was broken. We were trying to experiment. That was an experiment we're trying to put across. And that, don't forget, it was a political proposal by all political parties. In fact, it was even coordinated by IE and then went to the Electoral Commission. At IPAC, this was discussed. And our people vehemently, I can still remember, Mr. Obiamwa. And even last Monday, at IPAC meeting, he sought to apologize for that. He did indicate that they were against it at that time. And I was telling you, that is why we don't see the need for the change as of now. We don't see it because what has changed? What has changed from that time up to now?
I think what has changed should be a question you should be answering, because if in 2016 you had no problem with voting on November 7, what has changed now? That's a question actually that you should be answering.
That is why we are also asking, why are they bringing it back now when they themselves seriously worked against it, stood against it, they voted against it. So why are they now fronting it?
So you don't really have a reason for saying no. Your only reason is because the people who said yes are now saying no, or those who said no were now saying yes.
No,
so you have to.
We have after. That's why I'm saying that on that time when the discussion went on Parliament, go and check the hindsight. Clearly from both sides, the discussion was very clear because at the time the Attorney General came into Parliament in 2016 to discuss the issue, we realized that in November, clearly the rains were still very active. And that one actually was a major point of discussion. And that you can't hold the elections at a period of that time where the rains are active and roads are bad, the streams and rivers are full, and people have to be transported to across all this. It wasn't feasible. And it was one of the reasons why they didn't see the day of light in Parliament. And I'm saying that up till now, that issues are still there. We still have it. And so if our friends are now bringing it back at this time, what is the motive behind that?
Okay,
what is the motive?
So what is your motive now for saying no?
Clearly, we have stated our point and said that for the November one, we are completely against it. We are not going to back it. We are not going to support it. That November proposal they are bringing on table. In fact, even on Monday at IMAC, we made it very clear to them. So I was surprised when you were reading the comment from Dr. Bosman. He said all political parties. No, we told him that even culminated to the next meeting they asked us to come about. We made it very clear that this November thing, we are not going to accept it. Because that is not an issue we should be discussing as of now.
So when
even coming from DLE, the District Assembly election, that shambolic election they just conducted, we thought, and we had to defend some this thing. We even made it clear to them that the register they brought, people they registered just from a few months ago couldn't find their names in the register during the District Assembly election. All these things, baggage you are carrying on your head, plus you are going to even do limited registration this year. You are talking of bringing the election back to November. We are not going to accept this.
Now, how far are you going to go with this, your protest? Because honestly, listening to you, I'm still not convinced as to why you are disagreeing. You have stated that the challenges with the recently held election, but specifically, what are the points that you are putting forth as being reasons for rejecting November 7? They are not clear to me. The EC's points are clear. That one, they said it will ease the pressure on them in case there's a runoff election, and of course we also know that our transition period is short. Nigeria has longer number of months that they wait for before they do their swearing in. The United States same. We appear to have just 1 month exactly between the day of the election and the day that we are going to see the inauguration. These are the key points that have been raised. What is your counter argument that would be sound to anyone against?
Omar, the same thing that you have just mentioned, that was the reasons given by the Electoral Commission in 2016.
No problem. And you were in government, and you were in government, and you agreed at the time. So why are you changing your mind now? That's what I'm not getting.
Omar, you are not still availing your mind to what I told you, what happened in Parliament. And that I said, when this discussion came up, there was a counter discussion that, look, at that time, November is full of rains, in fact, almost 3/4 of the country. So how do you hold a general election in the rainy season of that nature? Knowing very well that when you do that, you are going to disenfranchise a lot of people. And that was a major point at that point. It was very clear.
So you are now convinced by the so you are now convinced by the position then that because of the rains, let's not have elections in November. So that's your conviction now. That's one of the reasons.
I'm saying that's one aspect.
And you agree with it now. And the second one.
And the second one, we made it very clear that the posturing of the Electoral Commission in handling electoral processes does not convince us that they need that kind of time to do this kind of work. For instance, I've just given an example of DLE. You and I, you saw what happened, the way they conducted the elections. This Electoral Commission, you give them short time like that, move the election from December to November, and then you allow this Electoral Commission to do the kind of thing they did in this assembly election. Your guess is as good as mine. We pointed it out to them. Secondly, the register that they have just given to us, the 2023 register, they've just given to us, full of mistakes. And it's read it all during the assembly election. People went there and they couldn't find their names in the register. We pointed it out to them in the IFAC meeting on the Monday. And we said with all these difficulties, and secondly, we also send comprehensive electoral reforms to the Electoral Commission shortly after 2020 elections. They have not even spoken anything about that proposal we give to them. Then you are rather doing cherry picking.
What would you say to the transition part, that it would delay the transition process if there were a runoff on December 28th?
Umar, we've had several runoffs. In fact, this is not the first time people are thinking of runoff. We even had 3 runoffs in 2008. You remember the time episode?
I do.
But we managed to have our swearing in.
But it was hurriedly done. You recall that?
It was okay. Who caused it? That is the dictates of democracy. That is the dictate, and it's pure constitutional. Everybody knew what was going on, and we went by it. The other runoff we had in 2000 election, it didn't affect our swearing in of President Kufuor.
So things should remain the way they are.
Things should remain the way they are.
IPAC is just advisory. The EC can decide to push this through, no?
Well,
or when they come to Parliament, you will stop them.
The EC knew the importance of our inputs into what they are doing. So when they were trying to push it through at IPAC and we stopped them, then they realized that this is a major political party, and therefore they must give us additional 1 week to go and confer with our leadership. And thank God, our leadership stood by what we did at IPAC on Monday, and we are going back on Monday 29th to present our comprehensive report to them that we are not going to back them with the November issue.
Very well.
In fact, if it is the issue of faith-based issues, we are open for discussion. That one, we are a political party that is open for discussion on issue of day in December. Fine, we are open for discussion, but we are not going to accept anything of November. It's non-negotiable.
Very well. Thank you so much for your time. That's Dr. Tanko Rashid, Computer. He's Deputy Director of Elections of the National Democratic Congress. Now, the issue of voting on November 7 is not new. It has been mooted a number of times in the past and it has failed. The earliest one was in 2016, July 21, 2016. The story published by then citifmonline.com, now citinewsroom.com, says Parliament rejects November 7 election date. And we'll read that story for us, just to take us down memory lane.
Parliament has rejected the passage of the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2016, which was seeking to change the date for holding Ghana's election from December 7 to the first Monday of November in election years. Now, the bill could not garner the 184 votes needed for its passage. Out of the 275 members of Parliament, 125 members of the Parliament voted for the November 7 date, whilst 95 voted against it, with 45 being absent from the House. Announcing the results of Thursday's secret balloting, the Speaker of Parliament, Edward Duajaho, said the results of the secret ballots are as follows. The ayes, 125. Noes, 95. Honourable members, Article 291, Clause 3, requires that Parliament needs at least the votes of 2/3 of all members of Parliament to approve the bill at the second reading stage, and that 2/3 is 184 because the 2/3 of 275 is 183.333. Therefore, the Constitution Amendment Bill 2016 is rejected at the second reading. The AG was in Parliament to push for the bill's passage. Before voting today, that was Thursday, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Marietta Brewer-Pierpong made an attempt to canvass support for the passage of the bill. The AG on the floor of Parliament contended that changing the dates will ease the stress in government transition by providing ample time. But the minority spokesperson on constitutional, legal, and parliamentary affairs, Joe Osei-Wusu, cast doubts over the preparedness of the Electoral Commission. He argued that the electoral calendar is tight and may cause problems if the EC still wants to run the election in November. He further cited delays in the procurement of election materials and training of election officers as some of the many reasons why the polls on the new date might not be feasible. Currently, the date set aside in respect of the conduct of both presidential and parliamentary elections in the country is December 7, while the swearing-in of the elected president is January 7 of the following year. However, concerns have been raised that the one-month period for the transition of one government to another is insufficient for a smooth transition, especially in instances of a runoff, as was the case in the years 2000 and 2008. In the light of the apparent weakness in the electoral system and following the election petition in 2012, the Electoral Reform Committee was established on January 23, 2015 to propose reforms to the country's electoral system. The committee comprised representatives of the EC.
So what you are listening to is being read for you now, but it happened July 2016. At the time, like you heard, Attorney General from the NDC government, Marietta Brewer-Pierpong, appeared before the House of Parliament, convincing MPs to vote and agree for the voting to be done in November. It should be on November 7 or the first, in November 7. That was rejected by the NPP then being in opposition. And today, the NPP is in government. The Electoral Commission is proposing for the voting to happen November 7. The NDC says, bid. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 Citi FM. When we return, we'll bring you the latest in the world of business. And then on Point Blank, we'll be focusing on John Mahama's campaign in the Ashanti region, where he's explaining to the people why the 24-hour economy proposal would work. And of course, in the Ashanti region again, the MPP's primaries arrested in the Mampong constituency. But before business news, Eno has one story for us.
The inaugural National Invitational Students Athletics Championship is set to showcase Ghana's emerging track and field talents at the recently upgraded University of Ghana Sports Stadium. This venue, slated to host events during the upcoming African Games in March, is in its final phase of refurbishment. Anticipating the Ghana Athletics Citi TV collaboration, Bawa Husseini, president of Ghana Athletics, assures that the stadium will be fully operational by February, ready to welcome participants for the competition.
It fits in very, very well, and it's going to be the cornerstone for our foundation in building a very formidable national team for the African Games and beyond. Because school sports is huge. You remember we want to have a similar program like the one they have in Jamaica and the one they have in the U.S. called the conference. The conference is the cream de la cream of all.
We apologize for the wrong inset, but we will bring you the inset in our subsequent bulletins.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Do you care enough about your business? Then it's time to make a transition to renewable energy and energy efficiency solutions. Visit the AGI Energy Service Center and talk to us. AGI ESC cares about business growth. That is why we're here to assist industries cut production costs through energy savings. We provide you with solar feasibility studies, energy audits, energy efficiency trainings, and financial advisory services. Visit agiesc.com for more information or call us on 0507 977 902, an initiative of the Association of Ghana Industries in partnership with the German Development Corporation, implemented by GIZ.
I'm afraid! Yeah! media some bisanda mo. Eti emra tia no. Mu wan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodom pe mo ma na yakono.
Eye kwabna.
No mu wonsu na tumi just mali me ma yɛ nyina de.
Eye kojo.
Enu kro. Kobre tumi hwe na bodom pe mo sense o yin super accident eba. Aye den aban ne do braye. Bu si echi na mo ho ban na sem ma na ho de ne. Sa ani na kudwo nso yin super accident chako. Na no ne de e ma wo se wo ye kregen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwo ma ma na feel you.
Ey kojo. Sa.
Yeah. Pepsodent Eba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. Afedie. Your corner natural.
FTIJ Chadian Katuyatu.
The other day, I visited Kweku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
it's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
Shout! I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. Citi Business News. Be informed.
Time now for Citi Business News on Eyewitness News, brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan, make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Inusafa. Let's settle for the details. The Ghana Union of Traders Association has opposed the proposed 15% VAT on electricity for household consumption above the lifeline, suggesting a 5% instead. According to Guta, the 15% rate is a disincentive that could impede business growth and stifle revenue. Speaking at the GRA Custom Experience Conference titled Building a Growth-Friendly Tax Environment in Accra, President of Guta, Dr. Joseph Obeng, called for an immediate review of the tax before its implementation.
Normally, they think that when they increase more taxes, they are going to increase the revenue. But on the contrary, when taxes are so high, it tends to decrease the tax enhancement. And so they have to notice that. So much as they want to add something to the electricity charges in terms of VAT, I think they can also be unique in the they have to be very they have to be very innovative in the how to go about it by reducing the rate to about maybe 5%, so that they can have it at the same time where businesses can also thrive. So when you are doing economics, you put things on the scale and evaluate it well. You cannot say that you just want revenue to the detriment of productivity of the nation.
You heard President of Guta, Dr. Joseph Obeng, speaking there. Former President John Dramani Mahama has highlighted the need for responsible utilization of the recently released second tranche of cash from the International Monetary Fund. This comes a few hours after the Bank of Ghana's account was credited with $600 million. In a statement, the former president also called on the government to abort plans to charge VAT on electricity consumption. Here are excerpts.
I support organized labor's call on the government to stop the value-added tax imposed on electricity. The implementation of VAT on electricity consumption would further burden Ghanaians who are already suffering from economic hardship. The move would increase tariffs by nearly 21% and have a ripple effect on the prices of goods, services, and transport fares. The government must reverse its decision and provide relief to Ghanaians. There is a need for responsible utilization of the recently released $600 million by the International Monetary Fund. The government must exercise caution.
You heard excerpts of a statement by former President John Dramani Mahama on the utilization of IMF cash and the VAT on electricity. Stakeholders within the local rice production value chain are intensifying calls for the restriction of the importation of grains. About 60% of rice in the country is imported. Between 2007 and 2015 alone, the amount spent on imported rice rose from $151 million to $1.2 billion per annum. The local rice growers and millers lament that for struggling economies such as Ghana, the overdependence of imported rice is worrisome and plays a major role in the current economic crisis. Yao Edupoku is the chairman of the Competitive Africa Rice Platform, and he tells Citi Business News that the government must cut down importation of commodities such as rice and rather boost local production.
I believe absolutely that is not actually that is really easy to get the imported rice into the system. Yeah, we are easy. It is very easy and convenient to bring in the imported rice for government and for the citizens. So nobody thinks about the economic forum, the jobs that we are taking from our own community, the characteristics that we do not have, but we have to strengthen on the table for the Indians to bring the milk. Once you go to the market and rice is there, everybody give a sigh of relief and we are all okay with it. Forgetting that we are taking hundreds of thousands of jobs from our own citizens. This is what is happening. It's a pathetic situation, but nobody seems to care. It has to be enforced like 10 years ago. But I understand that we are not strong enough as a nation economically to fight the power country. So we see what the another minister going to parliament and being rejected. He was castling, he was, because he had lived and delved into the situation and realized that this is what should have happened.
Yao Edupoku is the chairman of the Competitive Africa Rice Platform. Now, the Chamber of Construction Industry is urging government to introduce measures to regulate the bitumen industry and take steps to guard against profiteering. The concern comes after the NPA announced the commencement of the regulation of the importation, storage, processing and marketing of bitumen in the country effective January 2024. The chamber identified the possibility of industry players importing inferior bituminous products to sell at outrageous prices. In an interview with Citi Business News, the chief executive officer for the chamber, Emmanuel Cherry, urged the authority to seal all loopholes.
We need to subject those particular products into proper testing. At times, they bring the original product for testing. It goes through and approved. But the subsequent importation to the country, how do we follow? That's where the problem is. So most of them, they go for the fine ones for testing, which is quite expensive. But after the approval has been given, you are having the license to import and what have you, then they now go to cut corners, thinking of the profiteering. Their mind is about to make profit, not about the good and the services of the country or the people within where that product will be used at. So that is where the challenge is. So therefore, the authorities' call is wrapped. I believe we are 100% support with that.
Emmanuel Cherry is the Chief Executive Officer for the Chamber of Construction Industry. Now, Deputy Ambassador for the Federal Republic of Germany to Ghana, Her Excellency Savine Johnson, is urging the government to contemplate reducing the minimum capital threshold for foreign businesses. She believes this adjustment will elevate Ghana's status as a prime investment destination in the sub-region. Her remarks were made during the Ghana Mutual Prosperity Partnerships Roundtable Framework for discussion with German businesses in Ghana.
In Germany, the economic backbone are really small and medium-sized companies. They are the hidden champions economy. And for them, it is quite a high threshold to put up $500,000 or maybe even $1 million of investment to make the move to Ghana. It's often uncharted waters for smaller companies from Germany, and they prefer to start small. So to foster investment from Germany, it would really help significantly to start with smaller investments and then have organic and natural growth here in Ghana. We have had interactions with quite a few SMEs in Germany that are considering to come to Ghana, but the minimum threshold of investment does pose an obstacle and really causes them a little bit of a headache.
Her Excellency Savine Johnson is the Deputy Ambassador for the Federal Republic of Germany to Ghana. That's all for City Business News on Eyewitness News. The business news on Eyewitness News is brought to you by GCB Bank PLC. GCB Personal Loan. Make that big move and dream a reality. My name is Ino Safo. Up next is Point Blank.
Hello, Linda. You won't believe what I am planning next. I want to start my postgraduate degree, buy a car, and build my dream home. But you know what's stopping me?
What's that, Mike?
Money, oh. That'll be my biggest wahala.
Oh, you are sorted, Cry. With a GCB Big Move personal loan promo, you can borrow up to a whopping 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours.
Like, seriously? How do I qualify?
Yes, it's available to all GCB salary account holders. Plus, you get a 2-month grace period before you start to pay back.
Susket, I'm opening an account with GCB now.
Get a personal loan of up to 400,000 Ghana cedis at a significantly reduced interest rate in less than 24 hours. Call 0800-422-422 or visit your nearest GCB branch today to fund your next big move as we celebrate 70 years of greatness. T's and C's apply. GCB Bank, your bank for life.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
The wait is over. It's the Clash of Titans. The Total Energies African Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 is here. And as part of this year's competition, all Total Energy service stations will go into 100% football mode. So drive to selected service stations and kickstart your year with lots of amazing giveaways. This is our way of supporting our gallant Black Stars. So starting Sunday 14th January, when you buy fuel or lubricants from selected Total Energy service stations on Ghana match days, you instantly win amazing branded souvenirs. Let's celebrate the passion of football together and win lots of gifts during the 2023 Total Energies African Cup of Nations. Remember, promo is valid while stocks last. Visit our social media pages, Total Energies GH, for more information. Terms and conditions apply. Let's live football together.
I'm afraid. Yeah. Media sambisanda mo. Eti emrati no. Mumu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodom pe mo mana yakono. Eye kwabna. Na mumu hwan so na tumi just mali me maye ni nyina de. Eye kojo. Enu kro. Kobre tumi hwe na bodom pe mo sense o yisu president eba. Aye den oban ni do braye. Bu si echi na mo hoban na. Sem mana hoode ne. Sa ani na kudwo so yisu president chako. Na enu ne de e ma wo se wo ye krejen fita. Na watimi asiri your man feel you. Hey, Kojo, sir. Yeah. Pepsodent Eba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. I've heard you. You're going natural.
FDIJ Jadian Katuyatu.
Are you ready to exhibit your products and services for delivering affordable homes? Are you interested in learning about alternative technologies for developing cheaper buildings? Then, the Ghana Institution of Engineering presents the first ever Building Technology Fair in 2024. This fair brings producers of sustainable building materials, service providers, contractors, researchers, regulators, financiers, and all other players in the building industry under one roof to showcase emerging technologies and options for affordable buildings. The exhibition also offers an opportunity to learn about alternative building technologies, investment opportunities, and cheaper financing for building your dream home. The fair comes off at the forecourt of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly on the 27th and the 28th of January 2024 from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come, let's connect, learn, exhibit, and explore alternative means of building cheaply and sustainably. To book a space or exhibit or make inquiries, contact us on 020-167-6610. Our media partners are Citi TV and Citi FM. See you there.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Tonight on Point Blank, 2 issues. John Mahama, the former president and NDC flag bearer, is in the Ashanti region, explaining to the people why the 24-hour economy is the way to go. We'll hear from him. But before then, parliamentary primaries in the Asante Mampong constituency of the Ashanti region have been suspended, that's the NPP primaries, after some 35 disgruntled party members obtained an injunction on the exercise. Mind you, the primaries were supposed to come off this Saturday, 27th January 2024. One of the persons leading the group that went to court is Emmanuel J. Sefa. He is joining us on the line. Emmanuel, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, sir.
First of all, what's your locus? What's your interest in Mampong?
If you ask me what is my locus or what is my interest, honestly, anybody who seeks to join any political party has an interest. And our interest is that we want to make sure that the MPP party in Asante Mampong becomes one of the best parties in Asante Mampong. But it has been a norm in Asante Mampong that anybody who gets the power or anybody who is being voted into power to become an constituency officer thinks that the party is for him or her. And for that matter, he do things just as he or she likes. And this is what some of us in Asante Mampong have time and again have complained that some of the things they are doing over here, it's either here or there, and for that matter, the injunction. Honestly, we have sought for the injunction some time past, and we have battled with the court case for some time now. We started the court case somewhere back to 2022, and the court denied us last year. And for that matter, we still see that what the court said, or the High Court of Mampong said, we seem to have a different idea about the court ruling. And for that matter, we proceeded the matter to Appeals Court in Kumasi, and that is where we have secured an injunction on the election, because we feel that some of our people were denied forms when the time came for us to pick a form. And the simple rule was that because you didn't vote for my preferred candidate, and for that matter, if I give you the form, it will not be possible. And a good many of the people, over 353 people, were denied completely incumbent because they voted for Honorable Adenimu and Honorable Benjamin or Engineer Benjamin Atta. And all those people who voted for these candidates were denied completely because they did not vote for their preferred candidate, that is Honorable Kokusa for Ampreku. And we have battled this case for years now. And when the time was due for the ruling to come, the issues that engulfed the ruling prompted us that we are not going to receive justice, and for that matter, hence the need for us to proceed to Appeals Court. Honestly, previously, let me say about a week for us to go for the verdict, the incumbent MP issued a communique that he is 100% convinced that the lawyer is going to rule in their favor, and for that matter, we went to court, and it was exactly so. His presentation was black and white. What he said was what was given to us by the court, and for that matter, we saw that there was something somewhere, and for that matter, we were denied. We are seeking for justice, and that is not our interest. Because, for instance, if I'm incumbent, a polling station executive, and I'm coming for a form, and you tell me, you sit in the party office and you tell me that previous elections I voted for Honorable Adenimu, and for that matter, you will not give me the form, then you are being biased. And on top of that, we had the issues that they are going to skew the album to their side, and for that matter, they're going to do it family and friends. And duly and truly, that is what happened in Mampong. So Mampong, when you come here, the issue is that when you vote for or if the delegates, those who were cleared by the court, that they are now legitimate as delegates, go and choose Honorable Kwaku for Amprechum, then it means that they are not going to vote. So our interest is to make sure that the party or the Mampo constituency party follow the due diligence and make sure that the right thing is being done. That's our interest.
Very well. Thank you so much. And the right thing would be done when? Because your election was supposed to come this Saturday. So for you, the election should not come off until the issues are sorted out.
That is why I'm saying we have appealed our case at Appeal Court Kumasi. So not until we go for us to go to Kumasi for the three judges to decide whether or not the injunction is in right direction or whatsoever. We are going to still battle the case at court till we know that justice is being given. And that's our interest.
Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much, Omar Sanda. God bless you so much.
God bless you too. That's Emmanuel Eje Sefa. He's spokesperson to some 35 disgruntled New Patriotic Party members in Asante Mampo in the Ashanti region who have obtained an injunction on the exercise. Let's hear now from the party in the constituency. Alhaji Malik Eje is the Asante Mampo constituency secretary of the NPP. Alhaji, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you, sir.
How are you receiving this news? Have you first of all received the official documents from the court freezing your elections for this weekend?
Yes, please. But in the first place, let me dispel this notion that Mr. Sifa has said that when Mampong people are saying that when Amprechum is voted, they are not going to vote. That is a figment of his own imagination. It is completely not based on any fact. It is out of malice. So I think we ignore that in all the contempt that it deserves. That is completely not the case. But as you have already said, you are seeking for justice. And I believe justice is not sought at the market, neither is it sought at the provision store. In Ghana, justice is sought at the court. So if you go to court and the court ruling comes, you still don't see it as justice, then there is a fundamental problem with the way your definition of justice is. You took a matter to court. It lasted for a year and 8 months, and the judge gave its ruling, and the ruling did not go in your favor. The judge who gave the ruling left for, I think he was transferred. You went and sought for injunction. And another judge, because the first judge was called His Lordship Justice Apakobi. Then you went for an injunction at the same court, but in this case, it was Justice Sedu Douglas, who is a High Court judge in Kumasi, who at the time was visiting the High Court at Mampong, ruled the case again and refused your injunction. So you come to tell the whole world that justice has not been sought. Master, tell me, where do we seek justice? 2 High Court justices have gone into the matter, and in either situations, your case has been thrown away. Fine. We have the avenue to go to appeals court, and you have gone to the appeals court. We are waiting to see the outcome of it. If indeed the first 2 judges erred, and you are going to have the ruling overturned at the appeals court, indeed, we don't have control over it. We live to see. But to say that you have been denied and whatever, all those allegations you were making is completely baseless. You went and told the same stories. We produced your people who were in the petition, who had gotten forms. We produced those forms to the court that this person who has filed a petition to this court that he did not get form. These are their forms. And we produce it in the law court. Some people, you went and made an allegation that when you brought your forms, you submitted your forms. Myself and the chairman, we tore the form. And our lawyer ask for where the torn form. You could not produce even a form that a drop of water had fallen on it. So all that you went and said at the court, it was pointing to the fact that you didn't have any case and it was thrown away. So where is he seeking for justice? When the matter came, it first went to our regional office. They adjudicated the matter and said that you have no case. We came back, you didn't organize yourself well. We went to the national, where they had the National Arbitration Committee, headed by the former Sanitation Minister, Mama Cecilia Abenadaba. They sat on the case and ruled that you had no case. So in each avenue you have gotten for the case to be sat on, it has been ruled against you. Where is the justice that has been denied or that has eluded you? Massa, that is the reality of the case.
Was this ex parte? How come you didn't argue the issue on Saturday out in court so that you are allowed to proceed if you think that you had a very good case?
Massa, you could discern from the way they go about their things that they have a certain malicious intention, a certain planned agenda to protract the issue so that it will get to a time maybe we have to have an ad hoc situation to get an MP to contest on the seat. Because you go to the court, the judge postponed the matter and they are jubilating. Little did we know that from the defeats that they have suffered, they were going to go again and get an injunction to injunct the process. It can be read from their demeanor that they have decided to go a particular tangent just to delay the process. That is what I can say. It's a calculated attempt to delay the process to save their own whims and caprices.
Very well. Thank you. We would see what happens. So your elections are not coming up on Saturday, correct?
It's fantastic. That is what the directive that the General Secretary has communicated to us. And as an apostle of the rule of law, we believe that the matter ought to be settled so that, like they are saying,
So clearly, it is not fantastic news for you.
No, but then, as a believer of democracy and a rule of law, you have very little to see.
That's fine.
You can only applaud the justice system.
We wish you all the best, and thank you for speaking to us. That's Alhaji Malik Eje. He's the Asante Mampong Constituency Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. Earlier, you heard Emmanuel Eje Sefa, who speaks for some 35 persons of the MPP stock who went to court to injunct the primaries for this Saturday. Let's shift now to the NDC. Former President John Mahama was in Kumasi today, leading hundreds of NDC supporters on a walk in Kumasi to sensitize Ghanaians on his proposed 24-hour economy policy. The procession ended at the Ketia market where he addressed the crowd. Let's listen to him.
Baby 24-hour economy.
The 24-hour economy is not a new initiative. A lot of countries practice it. When we were younger, pharmacies and chemist shops were operating throughout the night. Fuel stations were not closing as well. At what point did all these end? Some shops and offices now close at 5 p.m. Why should the Kejetia market be closed down when it can run 24 hours? The next NDC government will put in place measures to ensure shops and offices operate for 24 hours.
So that's former President Mahama. He also talked about projects that have been abandoned in the Ashanti region and challenged the government to work at it. The New Patriotic Party's Regional Secretary for Ashanti is Adoma Pia. He's joined us on the line. Mr. Pia, in a minute, the former president says your government has neglected your own World Bank. What do you say to that?
It's laughable. Neglect. I don't think so. and 99% of Ashanti region residents would support my argument that this particular government, Nana Dankwa, Hamadu Bawumia administration, has never neglected Ashanti region. We've gained a lot from this government, and we are grateful to the government.
Okay, he mentioned the Kumasi Central Market, which he started. Has it been completed or not?
As we speak, truth is that it's not been completed. The second phase.
After how many years since Muhammad left government?
Let's gather the facts pieces by pieces.
I know, but because we are just dealing, because he spoke for just 1 minute, and I just wanted you also in 1 minute because we have to wrap up. But he's saying he left 7 years ago. He left a project under construction. You guys have simply failed to finish it up.
I want to answer your question that after how many years?
Mm-hmm.
If you've been to Kumasi and you've been to Kovanochi, for instance, there was a 44-year-old mother and child block for 44 good years. This block stood unattended to. When Nana Dankwa wanted to complete it, the advice that came from experts was that it cannot be renovated. It must be pulled down. 44-year-old block was pulled down.
Let's focus just on the Kumasi Central Market. Why has it not been completed?
He is speaking to what will place him. Let me also speak to what will place me. For 44 years, how many years did NDC as a political party, PNDC, NDC, spent in government? 27 good years in government. A block of 44-year-old block stood unattended to. And it has been pulled down in its state. 600-bed block has been erected. It's left to some few touches to complete. So if he is okay with a 44-year-old block standing there for 44 good years, out of which he and his government spent 27 of them, it does a life ill in his mouth. A life ill in his mouth to come and tell the whole world that we have left a block.
Okay. Let's leave it. Let's leave it here then.
We started the second phase. It was not President Mama who started the second phase.
No problem.
We started the second phase, and everybody's aware of the challenges this government has faced.
Let's leave it here.
We have now turned the corner, and we are going to complete it.
Let's leave it here. We'll have a longer debate later. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you, my brother.
Adum Apia is the Ashanti Regional Secretary of the New Patriotic Party. I am Umar Rusanda Amadu. I did this with Eno Safo. Production by Beverly London, Kobna Wilson, and Sami Wiafe. Technical support from Daniel Squashi. New media support from Daniel Abogre and Yoriga. We'll be back tomorrow at 17:30 GMT. Thank you for listening. Have a good night.